There we go.
All right, so welcome to Let's Talk Business. This is a weekly webinar program. We have it every Wednesday from 12 to 1, and it's always a different topic and a different guest presenter. Today it will be cybersecurity for small business. Very excited about this one. Such an important topic. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This webinar is being recorded, so you will receive the recording of it in your email in case you wanted to listen to something again or if you've missed it. Speaking of, please mute yourself in between questions. Please feel free to ask questions at any time. You can type into the chat box or you can absolutely ask them audibly. But since this is being recorded, in between questions, if you could mute yourself in case you have some background noises. There's two ways to do it. There's this green symbol on the control bar right here, or if under the attendee tab, if you find your name, there's also the green microphone. You can click either place and mute yourself. If you notice that you have been muted by me, that is just because there was some noise when you came on, and that does not mean that you're never allowed to talk. So just send me a message if you'd like me to unmute you. If you're having trouble hearing us, I highly recommend doing the phone audio versus computer audio. Under the audio pane, there's some instructions to call in. If you're not having any trouble hearing us, then whichever you're doing right now is just fine. And then, like I said, if you have any questions, you can either raise your hand, which is this symbol here, to let me know that you need to be unmuted, or you can type into the chat box. So while we get started, the Washington Center for Women in Business is a program of the U.S. Small Business Administration. I'm Tracy Hansen, and I'm the program manager of the WCWB. And our whole mission is to help women who are in that startup phase or beyond, if you're wanting to strengthen or grow, if a business is having some sort of business hurdle that they would like to consult with somebody. And I do notice we have probably a 50-50 split of men and women on the line. We're happy to help male-owned businesses as well. We do have a focus to reach out to those women, but we have probably 20% of our clients are male. Happy to help you. If you are interested in help like we do, but you'd rather not use a women's business center, there are other SBA programs that I'm happy to refer you to. So again, SBA is the U.S. Small Business Administration, and we provide these business services in workshops like this one here, where it's online or in person, and then we do a lot of one-on-one coaching, though. So today we'll kind of be talking about general principles, but when we do that one-on-one, it will be, specific to your business. And whoever just logged on, if you could mute yourself. We do cover the entire state of Washington. We are located in Lacey, Washington. So we, if you can't make it into our office, we do a lot of phone call, Skype, email, that sort of thing, so that you don't have to make the drive. To meet with us for the first time, it is free. It's $25 for an hour session after that. If that $25 is just not doable right now because you're either having cash flow issues, maybe that's what you wanted to talk to us about, having sales issues, or you're in the startup phase, we do have scholarships and waivers available. Just let me know. Our business coach who you'd be meeting with is Christine Buckley. Her contact information is right there on the screen. You can reach out to her. Or, like I said, I'm Tracy, and you can reach out to me, and I can get you connected with the right resource. This is a weekly webinar. I just have some of the upcoming ones. I'll email this out to everybody, so you don't have to write these all down right now, but we'd love to see you on future webinars. And we are, in just a few weeks, so excited, our second Women's Business Conference coming up in May 2nd. It's in Lacey. And we have 9 great workout or breakout sessions, some keynotes, a whole day of learning and networking and all that kind of good stuff. But with that, I will hand it over to you, Pamela.
Okay. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited about giving this class. So, just to introduce myself, my name is Pamela Simon, and I am the CEO and founder of Simon Training and Consulting. At Simon Training and Consulting, we are a veteran-owned small business, and our mission is to train a quality information technology and cybersecurity workforce to fill strategic cyber gaps for great employers while also training entrepreneurs like yourself to protect your assets. And so things we do, again, we offer trainings like these, seminars like this, as well as we offer certification training in IT and cyber, such as ITO Foundations, CISSP, CISM, and some CompTIA things too, such as Security Plus and Network Plus. So those boot camps. And so a little bit about myself, I was in the military, so I had a little intel background and signal background, so that's how I ended up in the cyber and IT. And I did that, I joined the Army in 2002. And since then, since getting out in 2010, I have been a federal contractor, and now I am a DoD civilian. So with that, I'll go ahead and get started. I don't want to take up too much of your time. I want you to get enough information out of this and get great usage of your time. So this is Hack the Hacker, Cybersecurity for Small Business. So the agenda for today, what's cybersecurity? Small business cyber attack statistics, reasons how hackers target small business, common cyber attacks, and mitigations to implement today. So first, let's talk about what's cybersecurity. So before we talk about cybersecurity, I want to talk about information security. So information security is protecting information an organization creates, uses, or stores. So in your case, there will be all of that data or products or content that you use to run your businesses daily. So all that proprietary information. So information security incorporates people, processes, and technologies. So the people that use that information, how you process this information, so how you use it for your businesses, and how you send that information out to different people, and the technologies that you use for that. It focuses its efforts on confidentiality, integrity, and availability. And if you've ever been around cybersecurity, information security, you may hear people say CIA, and that's what they're meaning. So the confidentiality. So that means you want to protect that information. You only want people that are authorized to see that information, to use that information. So that's what confidentiality falls in. Integrity. You only want authorized personnel to access that information, but you also only want authorized personnel to edit that information. And then availability. None of that information is any good if you cannot use it, if you can't get to it. So that's very key. Next, now we'll talk about cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is actually a subset of information security, and as it's defined there, cybersecurity is protecting electronic devices and electronically stored information. So those devices that we use every day, everybody has them, we're strapped with them. You know, you have iPads and tablets and phones, smartphones and laptops and desktops. So all of those devices and that information that you're storing on it takes all of the information we just talked about in information security into effect. So you want to make sure you're doing the same things you would do in information security for cybersecurity, but it's electronic. So before I move on, are there any questions? And can you guys hear me? I'm sorry, I didn't even ask that earlier.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
I don't see any questions come through yet.
Okay. So going on to the next topic. Small business cyber attack statistics. So every day we're hearing about cyber attacks. So more frequent, we're hearing about security breaches of industry and government networks. So some things that you may have heard about, Sony had got attacked, Target, Equifax, OPM. Equifax is probably one of the biggest ones that we've talked about in the last year, because that's one of the major three credit bureaus, right? So they have all of our information, our social security numbers, our addresses, all of that information that we use when we're working with other businesses to get credit. All of that is in there. So when they got breached, that was huge. And if you think about it, these are very large organizations, and they have large budgets and large staffs to use to help them not be susceptible to these breaches, and yet they are. And it's really nothing we can do about it. We just have to accept the risk in that, because everything is out there now. It's no way not to put your information out there if you're gonna be working with different organizations and doing business with them. So small businesses are just as susceptible to cyber attacks as corporations. No one is exempt. And I know a lot of times we think, oh, I'm a small business, nobody really wants anything that I have. I don't have as much money as corporations, but that's not true. So some of the statistics, 53 to 60% of cyber attacks hit small businesses in 2016. That's a huge number. That's more than half. And that was just for the United States. 60% of small businesses who are victims of cyber attacks shut down within 6 months of an attack. And that's because, as you can see down here, most cyber attacks cost businesses between $84,000 to $148,000. That's huge. Now, I'm not saying that some small businesses aren't making millions, but even when you are, that's a big hit. And so within 6 months of that breach, depending on what they did to you, if they stole your information, if they tried to get money from you and you tried to pay them, then that may have been a big hit to you. Or if it took you months to be able to get your information back, that was time that you weren't able to service your customer base. And so 6 months of that, small businesses can't take the hit to their bottom line, and they go out of business. So next we'll talk about reasons hackers target small business. So ransom payments. Let's talk about ransomware. I know lately a lot of people have been hearing about ransomware, and ransomware is basically a malware that can encrypt your data or your content. And as I was talking about, these major business interruptions. So basically, they get the malware onto your computer through email, some type of attachment, and they encrypt all of your data. So all of that content that you use for your business is now not available to you. And hackers are out for that payday. So they go out and they research your business, and they figure out, hey, they make pretty good money. Even though it's a small business, I can get $100,000, $200,000 out of them, and just so they can get this information back. And so a lot of times small businesses, because they're just starting or because they need all of that information for their bottom line, they will pay those payments. And for a hacker, that's a big payday. So that's a win for them, but very bad for a small business. So make sure to always go out and do your patching, and that could help you with the ransomware. Don't just open attachments. If you don't know who that person is or what that organization is, don't open it. Delete it and move on. Or if it is a reputable company and it just doesn't look right to you, call that company first before you open those emails or those attachments. Valuable data. Small businesses do collect data that's valuable to hackers. So if you're a small business and you're out there, for profit, you're taking in people's information. So some people take in financial information, so you get bank account numbers and credit card numbers. Most of us are using people like PayPal and other organizations, and so that really isn't on you because they're taking the information and you're just receiving the payment. But some of us do take in that information, and you're responsible for that. And if it's saved somewhere on your network, your home network, some of you, if you're small business, you don't have an actual brick and mortar, or if you do have a brick and mortar and you have an office space, that Wi-Fi or whatever, if it's not protected well enough, they are able to get that information. Personal identifiable information such as social security number, birth dates, driver's license numbers, usernames, passwords, and PIN numbers. all of that information is valuable information to hackers because they can take that information, they can use it to get into your customers' information and get money, or use it to sell to third-party vendors and other hackers that are trying to get information or get money some kind of way. So please, if you're taking in this information, protect it. If you're using third parties to do it, such as PayPal, make sure that they're keeping all of their patching up to date and they have the correct things in place to protect that information. Access to larger corporations. Lack of cybersecurity may assist with breaches of larger corporations. So I talk about this a lot. You know, it's great to put your accolades on your website, but when you do that, you make yourself a bigger target. So if I'm a small business and I'm putting on my website that I did business with Lockheed Martin, I do business with DoD, I do business with whoever, then you're making yourself a bigger target. If you put out there who your president is, or your CEO, or your chief technology officer, all that type of information are ways that hackers go out and they do reconnaissance and try to access your website. So an example that I like to use is if you have an executive assistant, you know, a lot of times that's who that hacker is going to call. He's going to social engineer. He'll call her and he'll be like, "Hi, how are you today?" And, you know, she's friendly. That's her job, you know, and she's like, "I'm great. You know, how can I help you today?" "Well, I was just trying to see if I could get in with your CEO. And what's his name?" And, you know, you get his name, you figure out his email address. If you have one of those portals on your corporate website where you can go in and VPN, now he has a couple of things. He has that person's name, he has their email. He may even be able to get, if he impersonates a IT person, he may even be able to get the password, because a lot of times executive assistants, though they should not, have passwords of their bosses, their CEOs, and so they may give that information out. So again, I know it's great, but sometimes the things that you know or you have out there may help breach those larger corporations, which will also hurt your relationships with those organizations. Next, no penalty. It is easier to get away with hacking a small business. Why is that? Most times we don't have security staff for continuous monitoring of your network. Because if you're a home business, again, you're using your own home network. So, and then also there's no auditing or data for forensic analysis. So something else that they small businesses do, they use one account. They don't get individual accounts, because in the beginning they may not have the funds to do that. And if you do that, there's no way to audit who's doing what at what time. You know, it's all one account, so you don't know who did what when. Some things that you can do, though, you can get a business account and you can ask, like AT&T or Verizon, right? You can ask them for certain packages, so you get that monitoring, so that you can get that forensic analysis. But you also have to pay for separate accounts, so that you can basically monitor who's getting into your accounts when and where. And the no penalty piece is, if you're not able to get that forensic analysis, say you get hacked, there's no way for you to take information back to the police so that you can protect yourself. Access to other small businesses. Just like with larger businesses, you know, if somebody hacks your account and you work with a small business, they can also hack yours. So, and also small businesses, just like you, don't have some cybersecurity things in place, or some mitigations in place, and they're not doing the things that they need to do to protect themselves. So if they're not protecting themselves, you're not protected. And vice versa. If you're not protecting yourself, then you're not protecting the customers that you work with, which may be another small business. So when you go out to like these third-party vendors, like I said, PayPal or Linktree or whoever you're using, make sure that they are protecting your information, and vice versa. You protect those people's information. So are there any questions at this point?
I don't see any type in. Remember, if you have any questions, feel free to type it in the chat box or raise your hand if you're interested.
Okay. And I know I talk quite fast, so. All right. So then we'll move on to the next portion, common cyber attacks. So we hear about cyber attacks all the time, and there's several avenues, but they're, like it says, some more common than others. So you have malware, which typically steals data or destroys something on the computer. So again, those attachments, there's usually things attached to those. So if you get a receiver email and it's information or a company that you're not familiar with, or if it looks familiar but it looks fishy, don't open the attachments. They usually come in attachments. It's not just the email, it usually comes in the attachment. And so when you open that, it takes data or it destroys something on your computer, just like I said, it corrupts that data. Phishing. So we get these all the time. It's usually sent via email and it's asked users to click on a link. An example of that is Netflix. I don't know if you guys saw that, but Netflix has been, it has been reported that Netflix has been, some people have been using Netflix as a avenue to get to people. So you'll get an email from Netflix and it'll say you need to update your account information. So if that looks fishy, which it probably is, then you want to go actually to Netflix yourself. But some ways that you can tell if it is a phishing email, you can actually hover over the link that's in there. So it may say netflix.com, but if you hover over it, it may say hackers.com or something. And so again, if it looks fishy, hover over the link before you click the link and make sure that it actually is. And just because it does say Netflix, doesn't mean that it won't send you to another site that's very similar. And you know that will steal your information as you enter that information. Password attacks. So we were talking about this a little earlier. So an unauthorized person trying to gain access to your system by cracking a user's password. So somebody might figure out your information, right? So something that I tell people, you make sure that it's 8 to 12 characters. You make sure it's uppercase and lowercase, numbers, special characters. You should change your password every 60 to 90 days. And I know we have passwords for everything. You should never use the same password for everything. So if you have problems remembering passwords, then you might want to go out and use password generators. So it's not your birthday, your kids' names, something very familiar. And you also may want to go out and get a password manager. They have apps where you can put your passwords in, and then you only have one password. But again, you should use those things that I said, 8 to 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters, and always change it every 60 to 90 days.
Is there a password manager app that you recommend? Are there some that are safer than others?
There are, and I'll get you that at the end. I'll type it in for you, okay?
Perfect, thanks.
There's several out there. They are all great, but there are some great ones out there. But I do recommend that. And let's see. And yes, Linda, hackers can hack a password manager. Anything can be hacked. There's, like I said, nothing's exempt. Anything can be hacked. But to prevent you guys from using the same passwords or not changing your passwords, it's better to probably have a password manager and have a different password for everything. Also, like I said, password generators are really good because it's forcing you to use things different than personal things that you know that are easy to get. An example I like to use, I went to an event for the National Association of Women's Business Owners, and I introduced myself. We're networking, and I said, my name is Pamela Simon, and I have an IT and cybersecurity business, and we're just talking, and we ended up talking about passwords, and I was explaining to them the same things that I just explained to you, and Immediately she said, oh my goodness, you know what I do? I put all my passwords into my phone. That's so bad. And I was like, yes, that's bad. It's not bad as you put them on the phone because you may be using a password manager, but it's bad because now I know all your passwords in your phone. And the first thing I'm going to take, if I'm a hacker or a social engineer, is your phone. And now I have access. And you're probably bad, just like a lot of people, where on your phone, you never close out any of your apps. So if I can get access to your phone, then now I have access to all those apps that you have open, right? Now I have access to everything. So make sure to close out those apps. I know it's easier to leave them open because you get quick access, but that is such a bad cybersecurity issue. Okay. So next, man-in-the-middle attack. A hacker gains access by impersonating both communicating entities. So an example, everywhere we go, there's Wi-Fi. We want to be connected. We don't want to use up our data, right? So say you're at Starbucks, for example, or McDonald's now. Everywhere has free Wi-Fi. Never use a free Wi-Fi because people hang out at those places. Hackers hang out at those places. And as soon as you log into your bank account, now they're in the middle, right? So you put in your password, they're in the middle. Now they're talking to your bank. And when your bank talks back to you, it's talking back to them and they're taking that information. You never know because you're still getting the information, but they're collecting that information while you're doing what you're doing. So never, ever, ever use free Wi-Fi for business stuff or accessing your bank accounts. Any of that personal stuff, do not do it. I know we're going to do it because we like to be connected, but you know, it's fine for maybe Facebook or Instagram or something, but do not do it for any of your personal information or bank accounts or proprietary information for your business, because people are out there just for this payday to take stuff and take our information. Some people are out there just doing it just for game, just to see if they can do it. And the last one, unpatched software. Always patch your software. Most updates are out there to mitigate vulnerabilities. Some are out there just to, you know, make the app look better or make the software a little more user friendly. But a lot of it is security stuff. And if you go into your phone and you go to the app store, it usually tells you what it's updating, if it's a security update or something. But you know, I used to be bad about it. I would have like 50 things that needed to be updated and I wouldn't do it. But that's really bad because most of those are security things and you want to make sure to get those updated. And if you don't want to do it all, go through the ones and figure out which one are vulnerabilities, which one are security things, and get those updated. But never, 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 and I know it's annoying, never bypass the patching from Microsoft or any of those things. Okay. So next we'll talk about mitigations we can implement today. So 7 cyber hacks to implement today. First, you want to train your employees. So do basic information security awareness training, such as train your employees on social engineering. Learn about it yourself. Phishing attacks, because those happen quite often. Explain your company goals and mission objectives. Help them buy into your mission to protect your company assets. If they understand and they have buy-in to your company or in your goals and mission, then a lot of times they'll do the right thing. Always create policies, acceptable use policies, such as social media or personal email usage on your company devices. Even if they're not using company devices and they're VPNing into your company sites, make sure that they're not accessing additional things while they're accessing your site, because they may inadvertently hurt your company and get your company hacked. So just train your employees and train yourself. There's a lot of free training out there. Number 2, provide individual accounts. I talked about this a little bit. Make sure that every one of your company members have their own accounts, have their own devices. And that helps you track employee actions, gives you kind of auto log for company accounts. If you do AT&T, Verizon, make sure to do business accounts. That way you can add on those additional things to help yourself out. Number 3, secure all your devices. So again, we have multiple devices, so physically secure all your devices. Lock them up. When you're at home with your kids, sometimes they mess with your devices. That's why I would say have separate business devices than personal devices. Keep those business devices locked up away, even if you're at home. If you're carrying them in a vehicle, don't leave them in the vehicle. Take them with you. I know it's extra stuff to carry, but take them with you. What else? Password authentication. Do two-factor authentication. There are several different sites that now allow you to do two-factor authentication. So things like Instagram, USA Jobs now, this website for DoD jobs, they now do it. So lots of people are providing that. So please use it. It's annoying because, like, for my job, I don't take my phone into work. So if I'm going to some site like Instagram and I put in the two-factor authentication, if I don't have my phone, I can't get the number, so I can't get to it. That's probably a good thing, though. Secure your Wi-Fi. Number 4. So every company, such as like AT&T or Verizon or Comcast or whoever you have, your Wi-Fi, they usually give you like a SSID name, which is your Wi-Fi name, and then they give you like this password, and they're all on your devices. They're on your kit. So you want to change those things, and you can go to their websites, and it teaches you how to change those things so that it's not clearly out there. And again, we talked about don't use free Wi-Fi to access company content, customer information, financial information. One good thing you can do is possibly get your own personal hotspot so you can carry around, and that'll help. Number 5, password authentication. Passwords are the key to your empire, so you want to protect it. So I know I'm beating this in the ground, but 8 to 12 characters, uppercase, lowercase, special characters, numbers, change every 60 to 90 days. Password managers. If you don't want to create it yourself because you're running out of things to use and you don't want to use your personal information, you want to go ahead and use a password generator. And you can key in what you wanted to have. You can key in how many characters you wanted to have, if you wanted to have special characters, that type thing, and it'll just spit out a password for you. Number 6, separation of duties and least privilege. You do not want one person having all the keys to your castle, right? I know we have limited employees sometimes when we start out and everybody knows everything. You want to have two-person integrity, or authentication. So, for example, of course, you will be able to go and sign out money from your account because it's your business. But say that you have your executive assistant. You want her to have to get a second signature before she goes to the bank to take out money, to pay a bill or whatever. You don't want her to be able to do that on her own. So separation of duty. And then least privilege. Only give people access to the things they need access to. They don't have to see every folder that you have if it has nothing to do with finance, and that's their job, then they don't need to see it. They don't need to see HR stuff. So separation of duties and least privilege. And number 7, the biggest thing, backup copies of your data. Save everything somewhere else, not just on your devices. Because if you lose that device, you lost it. Another thing it can help with, say ransomware is on your device and they've encrypted everything on your device. You can't get to it, but if you saved it somewhere else, you can. Or if they got onto your device and they corrupted your data because you got malware onto something, then it's saved somewhere else and that data's there readily available to you and you don't have to start over. And those are just some things that you can do today to start protecting yourself. And they don't cost anything really. There's a lot of free things out there that you can use. And so please, please, please protect yourself. And that's all I have for you guys today. So at this time, if you had any questions or anything.
Thank you. That was great. Some really good, helpful tips in there, and will the slides? Can I send the slides out to the attendees, Pamela?
Yes, if you just send them to the actual people that attended today,
Yes.
then we'll do that. And I'll also get you the password manager website.
Yes, great. Did anybody have specific questions coming into today that maybe Pamela hadn't addressed yet, that you wanted some clarification on, or making sure that you're secure in your business? Suggest any. So she's going to send a link, and I'll make sure it gets out to everybody, Eric, about those password managers. And then Linda, do you recommend software like Bitdefender?
Tracy, can you send out? Can I send you the password manager stuff, and when you send the slides out, send those links out, and then
Yes.
Linda, I've never heard of Bitdefender. What type of software is that?
Is that an antivirus?
Oh, I don't know. I can get you an answer though. I'll look into it. Antivirus is any type is good, but you want to make sure that it's a reputable one. And I've never heard of that one. And yes, antivirus is definitely big for cybersecurity because it goes out and it finds viruses or anything that you may pull in, and it protects against it. Google Suites is good, but again, it depends on how you're using it. If you're on your home network and you're using Google Suites, if your Wi-Fi connection is not protected or encrypted, then they still can get to it. They can watch it because Google Suites is basically what's the word? Like a cloud type suite of software. Yes, definitely change it. Do not use what they give you because somebody can walk into your home. Say they're working on your plumbing or they had to fix a light fixture or something, and that's where your modem is. They can see everything. Those stickers are right there. They can see everything on your device and get into it. So yeah, change the name, the SSID number, and also change your password. And the name with the SSID would be something like, I don't know, a whatever, how you find your actual modem to log into your Wi-Fi. You can change both. And your internet service provider usually has stuff out on their website that teaches you how to do that.
Great questions. Anybody else have any questions for Pamela?
Um, External drive. So if it's attached to your network, I mean your device that you're using, and you're on Wi-Fi, then anything is game. They can see that drive when it's connected. So yes, it's subject to attack. Something else that you guys need to think about, I didn't mention and I meant to mention, Internet of Things. We like to connect everything to everything. So, for example, your smart TVs, or if you're, I don't have enough money for it, and I probably wouldn't do it anyway. Your refrigerator, right? Refrigerators now you can connect to Wi-Fi. Anything that's connected to your Wi-Fi, your modem, if they get into any one of those devices, they're into your network. I know it's fun to have, like these Nests and all the smart home things, but yeah, you're opening yourself up to uh, your attack vector up. They have more devices that they can get into your network on. Okay, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, I had never heard of that one. I was gonna go look it up.
Well, if there are no other questions, I just want to thank you again, Pamela, so much for your time. And I'll be sending out the password manager recommendations, the recording, and her slides to everybody so that you can all make sure that you implement all these really great tactics that I think, I can agree there's something that you can do today to just help protect your business, and I think a lot of us can definitely use those in our personal lives, right? So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, feel free to, if you think of them later, send them my way, and I'm happy to get those to Pamela. And with that, everybody have a great Wednesday.
Thank you.